Hello friends, this is Sharmi with the Amateur Gardener. I'm back again. We have a lot of work planned for this morning. Mainly we are going to fertilize some plants, and then we have a lot of cleanup, winter cleanup for a lot of our veggie beds and just cleanup in general. So let me take you along for most of it. So starting with these are my cauliflowers. I just fertilize them, and then we have a loamy and make fertilizer at home. So this is what I'm going to apply to the homemade compost. So all I'm doing is I'm taking some with my hands and just mixing it with the nearby soil. This is from all the food scraps that we have. I will share with you some cauliflowers that we had discarded from last year because it got too warm and that wasn't bearing any produce last year. But I felt too bad and I just popped it in the soil in front of my boxwood hedge, and they started producing this year. So in a bit I'll share with you some of those. Okay. So all I'm doing is putting some around the base of each plant, and these are just cauliflowers. They were tiny last month when I popped them in the ground, and they have considerably bulked up since then. This year temperature has been milder and we haven't gotten a hard freeze yet. Some of this compost will also go to my roses. For now, I definitely wanted to apply to some of my cauliflowers. This is one that I planted late, so I don't know how much this is going to produce. But I'm still going to fertilize them. I can see some coming up, but it's not as robust as the others. Okay, so these are some of the cabbage, and they are doing really well. Okay, so this is the bed we call our triangle bed. Right now you can see it has a lot of trash. So it has a lot of marigolds. I'm gonna leave the marigolds. We haven't had a hard freeze yet, so they are still blooming and there's no reason to pull them out. But we have a ton of zinnias that have self-seeded. So you can see these, they're like all over. And I'm sure next year I don't have to plant any zinnias and they will all come out on their own. And then I do have some specialty mums. Some of them have bloomed and are done. Some of them are still blooming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back the dead, take out all the zinnias. My roses in the back, they need severe pruning, so I'm going to prune them. What else? I have some of what are these called? Gomphrenias. These are the pink ones, the magenta ones. I like the color, I might leave them. And then in between I have a lot of my verbenas. So I'm going to leave those verbenas. They are perennials, but as you can see, some of my daffs, these are my daffs, they are starting to pop their heads. So I have to be careful. I know where they are. I have drips irrigation here, and as you can see, they are going like in circles, and I have planted them. It's not circles here, they are going like one round goes from here all around there and comes back. So I've planted them in this bin between, and this is the empty one, so I can walk through here. The salvias are still blooming. I'm going to trim them, and then some of the roses have started to bloom. This one is a Julia Child. That's the yellow rose, and then there are lots that I have to trim back. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so we're nearly done with what we wanted to do for today. It's not a whole lot, but let me show you what we have done so far. So cleaned up this bed. There were like tons and tons of zinnia seedlings, got rid of them, and then I fertilized the cabbage that are in between the marigolds. Oh god, there's another one, zinnia there. Okay. So now, and I cut back the mums, the specialty mums that I had gotten, has roots a couple of years back, and some of them are blooming, but I trimmed them back. Left the verbena here, but just cut them back. Trimmed the salvia, they're still blooming. Trimmed the roses. I'll do a next round of trimming later on, and that is how they look right now. And let me show you some. This is a bed we had, what is it called, okra in. So took out all the okra and cleaned it up, put new soil. This bed we are leaving. This is like a huge bed actually. It's like a 3 by 6, but it is like times 2, so it's like an L-shaped bed. So we have tomatoes in there, and the tomatoes are doing pretty well. They're growing back, so which is why I decided to keep it. So still have fruit, and we don't have a freeze in the next 10 days of forecast. We have some low temps, but no freezes, so I'm going to leave it. My garlic that I had sown a couple of weeks back, they are popping their heads up. You can see some of them. This bed also we prepped today. This is again another parallel bed, like another 3 by 6 times 2. It's an L-shaped bed. So took out all the eggplant and had some other stuff here. Cucumbers. Cucumbers I took out like the last week when I was planting, a couple of weeks ago when I was planting garlic. But prepped this bed for next year. Then this bed I have garlic in, which are popping their heads. This is another bed I have garlic in. Now this bed we have eggplant last year, and it is full and full and full, and we got so many eggplants. I think I got about like 20 this weekend. We still have eggplants. I left us still little teeny tiny ones still on the tree, the plant, like we have several here. And I left these ones because hopefully if we don't get a freeze, then I can enjoy it again in a couple of weeks. These are 3 beds. Pretty much I just have to top it off a little bit, and they should be good to go for planting next year. This bed has strawberries in it, and they're doing okay. We'll come and clean this area up later on, but These are my salvias. They're like 2 plants and they are like huge. I planted it as like underplanting for my roses. It's kind of taking over now. I have to cut the roses back. I'll cut the salvias back as well, but I love this color. This is so rich. I cut it back a month and a half ago, and then again it is like 4 feet high and higher. Oh, some of my roses are blooming. Let me share them with you. And this is like living in a zone 9. This one is Lady of Shalott, and this one is Heritage, the one that I just showed you. This is Heritage. Some other roses are blooming as well. This is my bed of like my David Austins, mostly. This is Madame Plantier. I am not going to cut this rose back, this huge rose back. This year we'll leave it. I'll wait for flowers and then I'm going to trim it. And this one is a Baron Provost. I'm going to cut it back probably in like late Jan. Okay, so taking you through this side. This one is a Julia Child. That's the flower. Let me see if I can give you a view. Okay. That's the Julia Child. Then I forgot what this one is, but it's not a David Austin. This one is Emily Bronte, and this one is, I still have a name tag. Let's see what it is. Oh, Orchid Romance. This one is Elizabeth. It's a David Austin. And I have 2, like these ones are 2, what is it called? It's a dark red one. I'm forgetting the name. But I have 2 of them. That one and another one. I'll pop the name up. This one is one of my grasses. This is the purple fountain grass. It's like 5 feet tall, and like there are 2 of them here. I'm going to cut them back and hopefully it'll grow back. I don't see a reason why it won't. And then this one is a generous gardener. Not looking that great now, but I'll cut it back and it'll do well. My peppers are still here. Some of them have peppers, some of them don't, but it's winter. I don't expect too much. It's another thing we did today. Let me take you to it. I think it's called Tom Thumb, I believe. I have to look it up. But that's another oak leaf hydrangea. That one I got it planted. It was sitting in a pot for like the longest time. Zone 9 hibiscus still blooming, and some of my hydrangeas are starting to bloom. Oh, this one is a Savannah rose, and it's very awesome here. And this is a Ray Ponton. This is my other oak leaf hydrangea. I put it underneath this tree, this crepe myrtle. It was planted about, not last year. Yeah, it was planted last year. I think last spring. So it has seen like 2 full seasons. So we'll see how it does. My hydrangeas are all budded up for the spring. And let me show you some. They haven't lost their leaves yet, but this is, you can see that they are all budded up for spring. So another flower I wanted to show, this is a leopard plant, and you can see that it is all flowering right now. It flowers in the fall, winter. And then this one is my soft caress mahonia. If you can see, it's behind that, it is blooming. And this one is starting to bloom. My philodendrons are still alive and kicking, but if you get a freeze, they're all going to die back to the ground. But these philodendrons, I have had them for at least like 10 years. So they always come back way too well. I've been trying to control them with other plants like leopard plants, other things in there. This is my shade area, and you can see the top of it is like has a roof, but that's it. Okay, so hopefully you liked my video. If you did, do hit a like and do subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.